ahead and do that. She's going to start off with the song.
Yes.
And
It's going to be a Christmas song.
is it all I want for Christmas?
Exactly.
All right. Hey, guys. Welcome back to the next episode here in Dallas. We are with Mariah Medina.
Yes.
Is that a Hispanic name?
It is.
Is it Hispanic? Oh, my
Yes.
goodness. Okay, I did not know that. You are an amazing person, one. In just the short time that I've gotten to know you. You are a business owner, right?
Yes.
You own Lifted Rippers.
I do.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
And we want to hear about that. Why a woman, South Florida, decided to jump into trucks, right? That is amazing. That's not the first choice for a lot of people. It's like to jump into. Especially women, exactly. But what is really cool is that you've done it, you've conquered it, you've created a way, you've become profitable, and you're doing some amazing things. So I want to show some people some of the clips here in the future of your truck that you built. That is just a wild
It would not
beast.
fit downtown Dallas.
See, I didn't know. I did not think it was street legal. That's why I thought you were towing it.
Yeah, no. It's street legal. Barely.
It really is.
Yeah,
That's really
54 inches.
54 inches. So wait till you guys see what this looks like. So would you just tell us a little bit about you? Where were you born? Where'd you grow up?
Yeah.
And
So I'm from Colorado originally. I was born and raised there. I got sick of the snow, just like anybody. And I picked up and moved to Florida, bought a fishing boat, and worked in surgery at the same time. And then COVID hit, and I didn't have a job because I essentially was not essential. And so I just picked up fishing, got my captain's license, and started doing like a lot of dolphin tours, sightseeing. You know, women loved it because it was another woman to go out with fishing, and they really liked that safety feeling, I think. And then I just started traveling around fishing, and I had a truck, and they asked me to be on a commercial for a hitch company, and I was like, this is really exciting. And then I found out I was in like a man's world again from fishing to trucks, and fell in love with both of them. And I decided, what can I do that combines fishing and trucks? And it took me months and some very creative people, and we came up with Lifted Rippers. There were a lot of other names, but that one kind of stuck. And so now I own a shop in Florida and breaking ground for another shop in South Florida. And we build trucks. We do lift kits, wheels, tires, maintenance, and then we also do boats, accessories, and then I do the fishing side of it, traveling for fishing and truck shows.
very cool.
Yeah,
So you said you bought a boat.
I did.
So what would make you just decide to go and buy a boat?
Well, I owned a wakeboard boat in Colorado,
Okay.
and I only got to use it 3 months out of the year because it snows. So I started traveling to Florida and fishing, and I was like, this is amazing. It's sunny year-round almost, and it's warm all the time, and I can have a boat here. And so I sold a wakeboard boat, moved to Florida, didn't know anybody, bought a Sea Fox, it's a center console, and then the rest has been history.
So you bought the boat, and have you always been fishing? When was the first time you went fishing?
No, I hated fishing. I thought fishing in Colorado was terrible. It was so boring. I think my dad took me so many times to try and get me to love it, and we just sit there with a little bobber, and I would just sit there like, being a kid playing in the dirt, like, this is dumb. And we did a lot of hunting together too, and so that was like the outdoor side of things. So then when I went to Florida, we had a couple down days where we didn't have anything to do, and I just booked a charter and had a blast. I still fish with the same charter captain too.
Wow.
So he's like the first time I fished with him, I called myself a fisherwoman or something, and he laughed at me because it was like the total improper terminology. So that's just been kind of the direction now.
So you grew up in snowy Colorado?
I did, right in the mountains. I was at 11,000 feet of elevation.
So what was your favorite memory growing up?
Living on a ranch was probably my favorite memory, and having a boat. And the summers were like just the best. Camping, and they fished. Get to wakeboard, to water ski, get to do all the fun water sports.
Why a ranch?
I don't know. My dad built a ranch before I was born, and we had cattle and horses and chickens and 50 acres out in the middle of the mountains. So it was really fun.
Did you have to do the cleaning?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, you go get the eggs, chicken
Yeah,
eggs?
we had to get the chicken egg. I was terrified at night because I could hear the coyotes. And I was like, I'm not going to make it.
That's one of the great things I love about Texas. I grew up in Virginia, and we never heard, there's lots of foxes, but I never heard coyotes.
Oh, really?
And then we came out here, and when I bought my land the first time, you hear, it sounds like out of a movie. Like every time you hear the movies and they have the little coyotes
Yep.
yipping and yapping and stuff, I would hear that and I was like, this is so, I'd open my window at night just to listen to them.
Oh no, I was terrified.
Yeah, it sounds terrifying,
No.
but it was just really, really
I'd have to run out there and shut the coop so they didn't get, attacked, and I'd run as fast as I could. It was awesome.
So what made you get into trucks? Why that market?
I've always owned a truck because I needed it to haul a boat, and I'm like a do-it-yourselfer. I don't need a man kind of a woman. And my dad raised me to be that way. So I naturally just trucks were easier. They haul things, they haul trailers, they haul boats, they have extra room. So I just naturally liked them. And then lifting them and making them bigger makes them more exciting, gives them a little edge. And I'm not like a boring person. I feel like my personality is very vibrant. So I started making them taller and bigger. And then when I realized how big you can go, I wanted to play with the big dogs. So I said, what's the biggest truck show of the year that you can go to? And SEMA in Las Vegas is the notoriously largest aftermarket show in the world, and you have to be invited to go.
Oh, I didn't
So
know
you
that.
can't just
You can't just show up.
Yeah, you can't just. There's no trophies.
With my little S10.
Nope.
you
You
know.
have to be somebody or build something that a company is like, wow, that's really cool. So
So
after
you're invited to see.
Mhm,
get
so
one.
I just basically reached out and said, how do I do this? And I had a lot of naysayers, a lot of the dealership where I bought my truck. They were like, you'll never do it. You'll never make it to SEMA. No one makes it to SEMA. And I was like, all right, watch me. So then I was almost goal driven, like, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it happen.
Is that kind of your personality? If someone tells you you can't do it, like does that give you fuel?
I think it feels like, why? Like, why can't I do it? What makes you say I can't do it? And then when you do enough research, it's a lot of money, first off, but there's no reason why. I had the talent to drive a truck that big, and I thought the flashiness of it and everything else was definitely up my area, so I went big.
So, and when was that? When did you
I released my truck at SEMA in November of 2021.
Okay.
So,
And when did you have the vision to start the business? Like going
So,
from, because what were you doing
yeah.
before?
well, I was traveling around fishing, so I did a lot of YouTube. I traveled to other countries. Costa Rica was the primary one. I did a lot of marketing for fishing companies. During COVID, a lot of captains were like hurt by COVID. They didn't have any business. So they would hire or bring us on to do a lot of videos for them, TikToks, YouTube. So I was really lucky and fortunate that I got to travel to fish. So it started like that, and then it just kind of grew and grew and grew. And then I started my own merchandise line. So I had Mariah970.com. It's just a place where people could buy fishing gear from me, or sweatshirts and shirts that had my name and my logo on it. A couple of them had my boat on the back. A few of them have my truck with me like leaning over it. And it did really well for me, but I didn't have the big crowd of like, you couldn't walk by that at Bass Pro or Walmart and somebody would be like, who is that? So I had a lot of clientele and customers who bought from me, but they couldn't buy for their dads or their friends because they didn't know who I was. So I said, well, what can I do that combines both and start a clothing company? Because that was the first vision. And so we came up with Lifted Rippers, and I started selling apparel, and I was killing it out of my garage. So I was like, well, what's the next step? And so it was, let's find the right people that can build these trucks, because my experience and knowledge kind of stops there. I mean, I can change my tire and my oil, but
That's pretty good.
that's about it. And
That's pretty good.
I already had great relationships with all these big companies for wheels and tires just from going to SEMA the one year, that I just kept developing more friendships and relationships. And now I have a shop where I do the merchandise side, and now have an employee and employees that also build and do the things I can't do.
So, how did you get to the shop portion? So, I understand as a shop owner, that's a big jump, right?
It's huge.
From
It's very
just
expensive.
Going from out of your garage and doing something to getting a shop, leasing or buying. I don't know. Do you lease or do you buy?
Right now I'm leasing. However,
Leasing.
we close next week on a piece of property
Okay.
and break ground for the bigger shop.
So you're actually building it.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
8,000 square feet.
Wow. That's gonna be nice.
It's going to be amazing.
So that was that in your vision when you were looking at starting your business? So like, I want to own a big shop and I want to have all these lifted trucks, or what was your vision?
I don't know if I even had like a real like clear vision, and it sounds terrible to say that, but it happened so quickly that it was like fishing. How can I make fishing and trucks something? And I knew I wanted to have a storefront of some sort, whether it be fishing and like gear, or it be fishing gear and I sell trucks. So that was I was already working my way that way. Already talking to a lot of fishing companies on the side to do like I make my own fishing rods now.
wow.
So I was like, I'll start with the storefront and then go bigger. And then I met Joshua McClinton, who also has a big SEMA truck. And his vision was the same as mine, and we just kind of aligned, and he's the actual brains behind building the trucks. So we combined our intelligences, and now we have a shop.
Now you have it. And then how many employees do you guys have?
I had 2, and now I just have Josh right now.
Okay. And so you're going to build this. And
Yeah, building more. It's really hard to have employees this day and age.
Oh, tell me about it. That is one of the biggest issues right now, at least in my industry. I know a lot of other people are having the same kinds of problems. Even
Yeah.
just keeping employees, getting the right ones in the door, and even getting people to apply. That has been
The applying part.
that it's really difficult. You would think that
Everybody wants jobs, but nobody wants to work.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
And so that makes our job even harder. It's like I can't even get the people to come in to do this stuff. I outsource a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Go to different contractors who do different portions of it. So you can still get the job done, but it'd be a lot easier if you had some in-house people.
Yeah, it's hard to use. You have to trust somebody because you're working with such high-end clientele with what I had to go through to get to SEMA and all the negativity that surrounded a woman in a truck world, especially. I know a lot of people want to come work, like my most recent employee that I had to let go. They just want to learn all the trades that you did really fast, and then they wanted to start their own stuff the next week, literally, or the next day.
That happens in my industry as well. So you pour and invest, and sometimes you can't find the right help, so you invest in somebody who has the talent, who just has the potential. They have the right attitude. That's the most important thing. They show up on time, not drunk, not high.
Right.
That, like, to me, if they can do those 3 things, okay, I can train you.
Yeah, I can make you good.
Can you just show up at 8:00?
Right.
And then you take a chance, and in our industry, it's so difficult. It's like we have to. I'll train them myself, and it takes a year to 2 years. Because there's so many different trades that they have to learn.
Yeah.
But in the same sense, once they're trained and once they learn that they can go out and make their own money, put all that time, and then they're out of there.
Yeah, they see dollar signs, I think, is a problem. They see and they hear, in my industry, like Powerball, you guys deal with Powerballs on boats. Like, my cost is different than what we sell them for. So they just hear thousands of dollars when they don't realize that your shop costs, your overhead, everything goes into it. When I sell a set of wheels and tires, it's $10,000. But I don't make $10,000.
Exactly.
And
they don't know
and
that.
it doesn't matter how many times you tell someone that when they're swiping a card for $9,800 multiple times a day, they're like, dang, I'm in the wrong business. I'm going to start my own. And all I can say is go for it. There's enough work for everybody, but just like, it's hard. I'd like to find an employee that has dreams, but not bigger than mine.
That is hard, but I find that hiring based off of character is really the key to this. It's really hard to get to know someone and get to know their character. You can look at some points in their resume, how long they've stayed at the last job, what kind of work have they been doing work for themselves on the side, things like that. There's like little red flags that kind of tell you if an employee is the right employee for you, but you can't. You're right. It's hard to compete with dollar signs when someone sees that.
And I always clap for people that want to have multiple like side jobs and gigs. I think that's amazing. That's the only way I got to where I'm at, was making sure I never, the only person I had to level up was myself. So it was constantly every morning wake up, okay, what can I do better? What can I do more of? How can I make more money? And not necessarily just money, but how can I be so fulfilled that I'm just excited every day to wake up? And I want people to do that. I want my next employee to have whatever their talent, love, and hobby is, to be able to do that on the side. But when it starts becoming competitive, it becomes difficult. So hopefully the next one I'll find a good transition. They don't want to do both.
Yeah, hopefully. That's a hopeful dream that we all have,
Right.
One of the things, we have a lot of people that watch this podcast. There are other women that want to start their own business, right? Mm-hmm. They're scared to start. What were some of the fears that you had to overcome to actually start it, right? Because it's one thing to have an idea. Like a lot of these women that I've talked to at some of our networking events have fantastic ideas. But it's almost like they don't believe in themselves. They don't even believe in their idea. I'm more excited about their idea sometimes than they are. I'm like, you should do it. Jump on it. And they stop. They freeze. So how were you able to overcome?
It is so hard to train somebody to have confidence in themselves. so hard. That's the most difficult thing I think I find with anybody. But I just went full into it with passion, and I don't have a lot of, there's still things I learn every day. But you just have to have the passion and be able to show that to people, like, that they care. Like, you have to be genuine and real. If you want to sell, pens and pencils on the side, you have to make sure everybody sees that you love that. They need to show the confidence, and you have to be able to walk into a room and be able to preach why you love this so much. And it's not somebody else's dream, it has to be your own dream. And that was a difficult transition for me, because especially in male-driven world, and I feel like it's still pretty male-dominated, and I'm not on that side of like all women, I'm not that strongly one-sided, but it is very male-driven in a lot of industries, and that can be really intimidating, walking into a convention or a show and it's all males and they're just staring at you, waiting to attack you for whatever you say, and you just have to be able to clap back at them. And that was what I did at first. I would just always have they wanted to make snide remarks, and I would just smile and make something even worse towards them. And it just was kind of fun. It turned into kind of a game, and people just learned to just don't mess with her. She's not going to get her feelings hurt. And so that confidence, I kind of had to hide it. I'd hide it with just be really strong and just be fun. And then it finally started, the confidence started coming back out with her.
So having thick skin is an important part of this, because you are going to get attacked simply because you're a woman.
No matter what you do, you're going to be attacked.
So it's really important to realize that.
I think the one thing that stuck with me was you don't make it big until you have haters. And it sounds so cliche and that young generation, but the first time I had hate, I was like, I'm doing something right. I think I called my mom. I was like, somebody commented something super nasty to me, and she was like, are you upset? I'm like, no, I'm so excited. It means that I hit somebody's radar. Somebody who doesn't know me personally, I'm on their radar and they're upset about it. And that's why every day I wake up, I have people that don't like me. I need to keep doing this. Because it's always the nobodies that don't really have that.
If nobody's talking about you, then you really don't matter in a sense. So
you really will not make everybody love you.
That's important, because so there's another aspect to what we're doing here at Impact 360 Live, is we do have influencers here who are growing their following. And some of them are still small, and they maybe haven't hit that yet. Yeah. So what's some advice that you could give to an influencer who's trying to grow and they haven't run into these roadblocks yet? What advice would you give for them?
I would say, if you're starting as an influencer and you want to grow in the industry of anything, you have to put out real, high-quality, genuine content. No Photoshop. Don't have to be perfect every time you go on cameras. Talk to your people. Whether you have 100 followers or 500,000, go on camera and let them hear your voice. That was the biggest piece of advice I was given, because I was kind of stuck there for a while, and I finally just would wake up hey guys, I'm going to go do this today, and I would just be obnoxious and silly, oh, I got a flat tire again, or whatever it may be, and people just love that because they want genuine, they want to see real. We have so many fake profiles to be following these days, with magazines and being perfect and being this. It's just better to just find what you're good at and then show that to people, and then be confident in it. Talk to them. They want to hear your voice.
They do, and I think one of the things that I see a growing trend, especially on TikTok, is people just telling you about their day.
Yeah.
They're just saying, hey, today I woke up and I went and got coffee, and then I went and did this, I went to the gym and I worked out, and then I went down here and I went shopping, and it's just they're bringing you along on their day.
Yeah, they're get ready with me.
Yeah, there's some people that get ready.
trendy.
They're putting their makeup on. They're just talking about stuff. But even just I've saw some of your reels where you guys were on the road and driving and having problems and just
oh my gosh, every time.
Yeah, what was one of the big problems that you guys had?
Oh, we blow tires on our trailer constantly. It's pretty bad. And when I post, I get attacked by hundreds of, we'll call them mechanics in my DMs that are oh, you're doing this wrong. And I just keep posting because it's entertaining. But now when I see people, I stopped at Buc-ee's last week, and I had so many people running up hey, did you have another flat tire? And it becomes funny, and people can reason. They'll feel comfortable coming up to you because you're normal. Because people have issues. They just don't talk about them.
Well, issues are a part of a business entrepreneur. So what's a failure that you went through that actually helped you become successful? You can think back on.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Besides the employee side of things.
We could talk about that, but.
Yeah, no, I think trusting your team, but ultimately I think my biggest failure is relying on anybody else but myself. Because I think when you start to get comfortable and like you get bigger and you start growing, you see your business is doing, you're making more than you were. You start relying on these people that were there at the beginning to still be there, and then when they start, stop following through, it starts hurting your business. So you have to constantly make sure that you're the only person you can trust is yourself. Truly.
Well, that is, and that gets us to a certain point, right? I've had that same issue in my business where you have certain people that you count on, they don't follow through, and as a business owner, like, I know how to do it.
Right.
Right? But I'm paying them to do the job.
Right.
So it's like I can go back and be like, you know what, get out of the way, I'm going to do it.
Right.
But then I'm not going out and making sales. I'm not meeting new people. I'm not meeting customers. I'm not growing and looking at new visions for the company. If
Right.
I'm having to micromanage everybody. So one of the things that I found that's helped me is by hiring the right person.
Right.
And not keeping the people that I like. That's something that's been so hard. It's
That
like
is
if
hard.
you have someone that you really like and they do like 75 or 80%, I've had that happen, and something happens where they leave and I hire someone else, and it doubles my
Yeah.
productive capacity for my business. So hiring the right people makes all the difference in having a successful business, because you're right, you only can count on yourself because you follow through where everybody else. As the owner, you got to follow through behind every person who doesn't finish their job. This guy's going to get 90% done. This one's going to get 84%. This one's going to forget 5 things, and you're going to just go through and see all that. And that's what we do as owners. But as we scale and grow, I find that having just sometimes you have to remove the dead weight, and even if you like them, and that's one of the hardest things in business is I like some of the people that I've had to let go. I like them personally. We've developed strong relationships.
Yeah.
But at some point, they become the weakest link in the chain.
Yeah.
And as a business owner, we're all running, right? You're
Constantly.
running to the goal, and you got your team next to you, right? And they're running with you. And some of them are like limping along, and some of them are like looking up here, and you're like, no, come on, this is the way we're going. And then there's one that constantly falls behind and constantly falls behind. And no matter how much you like them, it's like, you know what? Let me train you more. Let me give you more money. Let me do whatever I can. Some people, it just doesn't work. And then they quit, and then you hire someone else, and that person starts running faster than you. And you're like,
I love
crap,
it.
I got to catch up to this. I can't believe there's people. I've had that happen in my company. It is one of the most amazing feelings that can happen.
You kind of made me realize that my biggest failure or flaw in this would be helping everybody else, trying to always like bring up the lower dog to help you out. You can't stop for everyone else. You got to keep going forward, get rid of the dead weight.
It's tough. I mean, that's business, right? Because you can either have friends or you can make money. And sometimes it's really hard to have both. And that's what I realize in my business is that there's some people I hire that I really like, but they would slack off or they would not be at the level that I needed them to be. And so I wouldn't let them go. I kept people way longer than I should have because I like them. And we have the friendship, and they come in and we're doing our thing. But my bottom line is I lose money. I lose money, and there's a certain amount of money that you're going to lose for each unproductive employee. And so one of my main employees, I won't go into it, but I upgraded one of my most valuable employees, and the productivity that I received by changing out this one person has, I don't want to say doubles my business, but just doubles the productive capacity that we did. So this one person would get 8 things done a day. This other person would get 16 things done a day. And with those 16 things, my revenue went up, my customer satisfaction went up, everything went up by changing one person that I liked. I didn't want to change them, but they had personality problems with other employees. They were really good at telling me like why they didn't get the stuff done. They gave me all these excuses, and it sounded really good. The excuses sounded great. So what I did, and I'll just tell you, and maybe, I don't know if this will help you, I ended up hiring, I figured it out after about 1.5 years.
Oh, that's long.
It was a lot, because it was really good, and she gave me all the information that I wanted to hear, and she always had a really good reason why things didn't get done. So I would give her 10 things, and she would get 2 of them done. First, she'd get like 8 of them done. Then she'd get 5 of them done, and then she'd get 3 of them done. and then give me
Oh, no.
7 reasons why it was my fault they didn't get done. So I was like, okay. So I went and hired somebody else as a helper. I was like, oh, you're overwhelmed. That's
Yeah.
what you're overwhelmed.
Let me
So
get you an assistant.
I got her an assistant, and I gave her 10 things to do. I gave the same girl 10 things to do. And when she gave me 7 excuses, I was like, okay, no problem. So I took it over to the assistant. Would you get these things done in 1 hour? That assistant would get all of it done. She's like, okay, what else do you have for me? And I was like, what? And then when she realized that this younger girl was able to do what she was able to do faster, with a better attitude and
Yeah.
no excuses, then she started doing some combative things like emotional. She
Yeah.
did her thing the way she did. And you know what? I still love this lady to death. She's
Yeah.
wonderful. But in business, that's how I fixed it. And then the other girl she came on full time, and I had to let the other one go. And I noticed like a doubling improvement. And even the one that I have now is even better than everybody that I've hired. Like
Yeah.
it gets better and better when you make the right changes. And that's maybe something that's helpful for you. I hope it helps. I mean, you can
Yeah.
probably look. We have very similar businesses.
Yeah.
We both have shops. We
Yep.
both have mechanics. We both have customers that we deal with in the automotive space. And so I've been there. I've done that. And now I'm able to, with the staff that I have in place, I'm able to step back and do some more things that I like.
Yeah.
Before, I was putting out fires all day long.
Yeah.
It was always me.
Yeah.
You know? They would start them, and I'd have
You'd have to
go
come
and
finish.
I gotta go finish. It's like, how do you run a business that way?
Yeah,
You
they,
know?
they become complacent.
They do, and it's unfortunate, but you know, as you grow, you get new people, and then you're like, wait a minute, I just gave you 5 things to do.
And you finish
You
it.
fished all 5 things, and this
Yeah.
guy's still working on number 2. And then he gave me excuses why he's still working. Well, I don't have this tool, and you know.
It's getting worse too. The work ethic. I don't know about everywhere, but Florida, the work ethic is very bad.
Well,
I think we're on island time or something.
I think
because-
it's the same because even some of the new people that I've hired recently don't have the work ethic that I grew up having. And even a lot of people that were my age that I'd hire, I know how hard people work, and it's different.
Yeah.
It's really different. I don't know if I'm getting old or something. It's
I
like,
don't know. I don't
you know,
think it's that.
I've hired
Just-
some young kids, 18, 19, 20. I actually have 2 right now. One is 19, one is 18. And the 19-year-old is doing better than some of my 30 and 40-year-old techs that I've had in the past. He's more responsible, more mature. He's running crews. He's putting in notes. He's taking pictures.
Who are his parents?
No, he is a wonderful. And then I have another one that is trying really hard, but he's not at the same. He's completely at a different level, like way lower, and he's not getting the things that he needs to get. And it's unfortunate, but I gave them both the chance. I'm willing to give people a chance, young, old. I don't care your color. I
Yep.
don't care your background. I'll give you a chance, and then your work ethic will prove whether we're right or wrong. You know, I want you to be part of the family, but so one of your biggest successes is being an influencer, right?
Yeah.
How did that even happen? How did you start down that journey?
I have no idea.
You-
I know that sounds terrible. I was in Colorado and I had a Instagram because that was the big thing, 5 years ago. And for bodybuilding, so I used to do fitness competitions, and I lost like 79 pounds for this thing. And I started seeing all these people like, this is so inspiring, this is inspirational, and I was like, this is really fun because I'm just a normal human, just walking the streets. I'm not Beyonce, so I just kept up with it, but not like hardcore. And then that's when I decided to make the transition to move to Florida. And then during COVID, when I wasn't considered essential in healthcare anymore, I started fishing, and the outreach of people, because I'm not a model, I'm not a size 0. It was like the amount of people I reached with just fishing on a boat, as being a woman on a boat, was wild. So I was like, woke up one morning and a snook video had just gone crazy viral, and I had like 10,000 new followers, and I was like, what just happened? Did somebody hack me? I literally thought I got hacked, because I'm not what you would think of as like your influencer. I don't do all of those influencing things. I'm not the beach model or the and I just kept doing it, kept fishing and being me. And like I said earlier, talking to people, like letting them hear your voice and like knowing that you're real, it makes a huge difference.
So you found a niche. You snuck into a niche that
yeah.
somehow is amazing because there's so many different niches in
Oh my
influencing, working out, fashion.
And it's
all
gotten
the
worse, or not, maybe not worse, but it's gotten more
you have
populated.
more
Everybody's
competition.
doing it.
Everybody's doing it, but you found it in fishing that has created this amazing network for you.
Yeah, and I looked up to a lot of the fishing females on social media, and even a lot of the males. And I got to meet a lot of them. I haven't met all of them, but I've met most of them, and it's been pretty fun. But I will say there are a few that I met that I was like, that is not who I thought you were. You're definitely different on social media than you are in real life, and so I don't want that. I don't want anyone to ever meet me and be like, you catfished me, or you're not nearly as exciting as you seem online. I want to be the exact same.
So some people put on a facade.
Oh, absolutely.
Online
and I think it hurts them now because I see they're not doing as well as the ones that keep it real and, change a tire on the side of the road and cry. I mean, I think I don't do this a lot, but there have been times I've been on there with just like horror stories. Like, this happened to me, it was terrible. I don't like to put negativity out there, but to let people know, like, hey, everything that could go wrong did go wrong in my day today, but this is why it's going to get better. And I think people like that.
Well,
again,
like
the realness.
The authenticity is at a premium. Like, you just don't have, you have a lot of people doing stunts and pranks and, things for likes. Like, they're giving money away, and it seems like a feel-good thing, but it's really a clout thing.
Yes.
And some people you can see through. Some are real honest, but a lot aren't, And so you found something that's really worked for you, being authentic, being who you are on and off the camera, which is really cool, by the way. That's something that is rare and sought after. So someone who's looking at doing this, like becoming a fishing influencer, becoming an influencer in general, what advice would you give them to get started? They're like, hey, should I just buy a boat? What do I got to do? Run out and, start fishing and bring, do they got to bring their own camera system? Like, what kind of stuff did you do to get started? Like, buy a kayak?
I would definitely not ever get into a group of whatever you want to, a niche, you can say, unless you are passionate, because people are going to see right through it. If you don't like boats or trucks or fishing, don't get into those just because they're popular. While I agree to follow like trending sounds and viral things that people do that are funny, everyone's going to see right through you. So I would say whatever you feel passionate about. For instance, fishing for me, it was a no-brainer. But when I first started, it was all just me on my iPhone. It's still actually to this day is just me on my iPhone. I record a lot of the stuff I record by myself. I tried to hire a camera crew at one point, and the YouTube videos just did not do as well. I don't know why. I think people like, again, the realness, and it sounds, I'm repeating myself, but they like to see that one-on-one, like they're talking to you on the camera. You're holding your selfie phone up like this, and you're talking to the camera, and they love that. They want to see genuine content.
I think that's a little nugget of wisdom that you're giving out that a lot of people maybe are neglecting. They think they need to run scripts. They gotta create drama or events and stuff like that. And
or they want everything to be so. I hang out with a lot of influencers. They want every post to be perfect. They're editing their cellulite out. They're editing their hair is messed up. I have friends that go as far as like replacing their face on a picture and putting it on a different picture that they like their face better in. And I'm not that person. I'm gonna throw a picture up there. Maybe I was squinting really bad in the sun because it's bright out, and I liked the feeling that I had when I took that picture, and it's still high quality. I'm not going to post something that's like, grainy or like super filtered, but I'm going to post a picture.
And so which platform have you been really migrating towards? Which one has been most successful?
It sounds terrible, but it goes in waves. I think there for a while, Instagram was dying off, and now I feel Instagram's picking back up. And then TikTok disappeared forever. Now, not forever, but TikTok kind of disappeared there for a while when they were saying it was going to get canceled in the U.S. and everything else. So then it kind of took a slower roll, and now TikTok's back to being busy again. And then Twitter has been really big lately.
Really?
I'm seeing Twitter being like a very much talked about platform, and every aspect that I go around.
Are you thinking of doing more? Are you posting the same content on all three, or are you doing different content?
I don't. I try not to do that because it gets kind of boring. So Facebook, I have like a public business page that I post mostly pictures, fishing, trucks. And then I have my Instagram, which I like to be more authentic on Instagram and TikTok, because you can talk, you can do the reels, you can get somebody's algorithm, their FYP page. And then YouTube is more edited, but it needs to be engaging and fun, and people want to sit there that don't know you and watch it. So YouTube's a little bit harder. That's a different animal. But right now, I think the platform that I feel like are doing the most is going to be Twitter and TikTok. And then next week it'll probably change to Instagram. And then my Facebook went viral the other day, so I just really think you got to keep up on it. It's a full-time job.
On all the different platforms.
Yeah.
And now, do you use one tool, or do you log into each one separately to see
I log
comments?
into each one separately.
Okay.
And I engage with most of the comments. I try to, at least a few of them here and there. Especially the ones that are super positive. I love to engage with them.
So you're probably going to have a lot of fans watching this, and I'm sure you get a lot of messages, direct messages. And so I don't think people really understand when they're trying to message an influencer. Oh, I love what you do. Your hair looks great, and they don't get a response from you. Maybe some people get hurt, or they just feel like you're not there, you're not listening. Like, can you give some kind of reference of how many messages you're getting a day, and like what it would take for you to answer that many messages?
Maybe this is a secret that I shouldn't tell people, but I answer my messages.
Do you, all of them? As many as you can?
I don't answer the inappropriate, rude ones because, again, why I put that out there. But if it's positive, especially women, just super excited to be a part of the page, I always engage. I'll even follow them back. I feel like the day that you're an influencer and you feel like you're cooler than somebody, and you feel like your time is more important than the person DMing you, is the day you've gone off the wrong way.
Well, I could just imagine in one picture, maybe you'll get a couple thousand messages in a day, in a couple of weeks. Even 1,000 messages, even if you got 1,000 messages a month, that is a lot of time to respond. And that's maybe one picture creates that many, a whole bunch of messages. So
yeah, when I get on my phone, it sounds terrible. It's all business. I get on there, I see what's trending, I see what's going on, in what sounds I can use, oh, that was funny. What people are kind of doing, and then make it my own. And then I answer people that I feel are genuine. They're not just a robot, a scam, or the inappropriate ones. And I'll take the time to interact pretty much all day long as soon as I pick up my phone. I'm not on my phone to just sit there and play games or to, watch Netflix. I'm on my phone constantly responding to people, reaching out to people, because I can't imagine I don't remember who I had I wouldn't call him an influencer, but I had somebody famous in my eyes respond to my Instagram 5 years ago, and it changed my whole life. I was like, oh my gosh, I know that they're never going to remember me, but that 5 minutes, to this day, I still talk about it. So if I can change somebody's life for 5 minutes, then
make them feel valued and listen
Yeah.
to it. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
really awesome. So Lifted Rippers right now, where are you guys located?
Right now we're located just east of Tampa in a little town called Plant City.
And,
We're doing well.
and what services do you offer? So
Yeah, so we're a one-stop shop. It sounds silly, but we do lift kits, wheels, tires, your maintenance, your oil changes, mounting and balancing tires. We do full custom truck builds, so everything from the ground up. If you wanted a SEMA truck, we would be the shop or one of the shops you would call to get that experience. And I try to go above and beyond again, and maybe this is why I'm doing well with it, is there are ways to go about building a truck that are less expensive than if you were just to go online and just order, add to cart, because prices that I get as a dealer are much different than what you can get online. And if I have somebody that has a budget and they want to build their dream car or their dream truck, I'm going to sit down and do everything in my power to get them in that budget, even if it means the only money I make on it is labor. And a lot of companies used to say no, don't do that. And now I have a lot of companies that are this is really cool you're doing that, because the only person that's affecting is me. Financially, I'm the only one taking a hit on it, because I could be selling you a set of wheels of your dream for $5,000 because that's what they are online, or I can sell them to you at my cost. Neither one of us are hurt. I don't make any money, but then you come to me and we get to build your truck, and it's amazing. And that might be what sets me apart from everybody else.
And what's the website if people want to go?
Yeah, so my website is liftedrippers.com, and it's just mostly clothing, my merchandise, my apparel. Lifted Rippers fishing shirts and T-shirts and hats. You can order some accessories on there like rock lights, but everything else that we do is all over the phone. So if you wanted to place an order, it's better to call, because again, I work with budgets. So I don't want to put a set of tires on there for one price and it not be what I can actually get you.
That's really unique. That's very unique. Not a lot of people would run a business that way.
No, I got told not to do that.
Well, it would seem counterintuitive, but it also creates kind of like a loyal customer, right?
Yeah, well, the one person I do it to, 5 others come for me after that.
Exactly.
So
the amount of business that you get from that.
And I build trucks, and we do it because we love it. And that's the difference between being like a really successful company and not, I feel like, maybe, because I've called a lot of companies in my life to have like work done, and if they don't like it, you can see it in their face. They don't care. You're just another, dollar bill sign in their eyes, and I don't want to do that. I have people come in that are just so excited to rebuild their truck they grew up with their dad, and I'm here for it. Let's do it.
And so, in closing, you are working on an exciting project right now.
I am, yeah.
Right?
I have not announced it at all.
You haven't announced
Nope,
it.
I haven't.
So, do you want to
Yeah.
share what you're working on?
So you guys heard my story about going to SEMA. It's the largest aftermarket show in the world. I have a 1982 Jeep J10, which my dad bought brand new in 1982. And I learned to drive on my ranch with that truck. And so my whole life I've always asked my dad for, like, can I have this Jeep? Can I have this Jeep? I helped him rebuild it, like repaint it and do new upholstery when I was in high school. And he would never give it to me, said I wasn't responsible enough. And it's the coolest truck because there's only 7 left in the world. And he finally let me have it about a year ago, a little less than a year ago. He had it delivered to my shop, and I was like, you know what? It's time. So I was invited to go back to SEMA at Battle of the Builders this year, which is highly televised. You can get a lot of harsh critics too. I'm sure I'm going to get it all, but we're basically rebuilding this vintage truck and making it a little bit of our own custom. We're doing like custom suspension, and but we're keeping it vintage, and we're going to go to SEMA with it. And then SEMA's on Halloween. It starts Halloween, but 3 days before, we're going to take it through the desert and have a helicopter fly over it. And I've got a helicopter company that has agreed to take the doors off the helicopter and fly like as close as they can to the Jeep. And we're going to make a whole commercial and a whole like bunch of stuff from it.
That's really cool.
So not only are we taking one of 7 trucks left in the whole world, but we're going to build it, make it our own, and then, drive it as fast as I can through the desert.
That's so cool. Now, this October?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're going to get all that done this October?
Yeah, it's a lot. When they call it SEMA Crunch, and we don't sleep, but when we rebuilt my truck a couple months ago for my own truck show, I don't think we slept but maybe an hour every day.
I was going to say.
And that's when I would go on camera and be like exhausted, tired. I had people try and steal my stuff during it. Like, it was wild. But I went on there and shared it with people. And I still stay positive about all the negatives. So.
Wow. Well, that's exciting. I can't wait to see that. That sounds so cool.
Yeah, I get goosebumps talking about it. It's going to be fun.
That is so. Well, bringing back the retro that's just, especially, like, you've seen, like, the trends with younger people right now,
Yeah.
where they're having the 80s mustaches and everything's 80s.
The mullets are back.
And I'm wondering if that started because of, what is that, Stranger Things?
Oh, yeah, the show.
Because, I think all of the kids that watched that was kind of based in the 80s. And I'm sure fashion always comes back.
It does.
In the future. But I just wonder if that kind of brought back some nostalgia. They had some nostalgic cars, some old music, and,
I think the national shortage of vehicles, everybody was like, all right, let's go back to these older vehicles.
There's just something about those
They're way more
vehicles.
durable. Let's be real.
Yeah. There's something special about it, too, right? One, it's one owner. It's in your family. It's being passed down to you.
Yeah.
It's being given to you kind of like, okay, let's
Yeah.
see what you can do.
And my dad still keeps a tight watch. He's like, what color are you painting it? And he'll disagree. I'm like, just let me do it, okay? Just trust me.
That's hard for a dad to
No,
trust his daughter.
he's having a real hard time with it.
But that's okay. This is going to be a wonderful experience I'm sure you guys are going to have. So.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming out today.
Thanks for having me.
This has been so enlightening. This has been so cool to be able to.
I'm learning stuff from you. I'm
Well-
realizing what I need to do different.
Well, I'm
in
glad.
business.
And actually, this is really what the podcast is about, is like sharing your knowledge. And that's something that I really enjoy doing. I've started businesses. I've grown businesses. I've gotten them to different levels. I'm not, a super successful guy by any stretch of the imagination, but I've done a lot of different things. I've been a producer. I've done software development. I've had large software companies that I've bought and sold, and gotten into the RV business about 5 years ago. So being in kind of the garage business, I really understand where you're coming from, and I love being able to share. These are the things that haven't worked for me. These are the things that have, and it's made a huge difference in my business. So I hope it does. I hope you got something out of it.
Oh, absolutely.
We're so happy. We are going to be fishing tomorrow. It is, I picked you up straight from the airport.
Yep.
We came straight here. We're filming this. We are going tomorrow morning with 2 of the most amazing guides on Lake Fork.
I'm excited.
That is Mike McFarland and Jason Kahn. And both of them catch monster fish. Now I can't promise you we're going to catch big
Right.
fish tomorrow, but
It's called fishing, not catching.
between both of these two, Jason Kahn has caught the 10th largest largemouth bass in Texas, and he just caught that this year. I fished with him one time. He's one of my favorite guys. He's just a real guy. He knows so much about. You're going to learn a lot about fishing just by watching him. And did we talk about you being a captain?
Yeah, at the beginning. Yeah.
So, watching what Jason does in his element of how he does this is so amazing. He's just a great teacher. Mike McFarland is also amazing. He loves teaching. That is one of the things. He loves people. He's got a big heart. He's a tall dude. He's got a big heart, and he does the Mike McFarland rundown every Tuesday and Thursday, talking about Lake Fork. So it's gonna be so exciting for us tomorrow. So
I'm excited to meet him.
we got a long drive. We're driving to Lake Fork tonight.
Okay.
And then we got to be up at probably 5 because we're gonna have breakfast at 5:30. Be on the water by 6, and we still got probably another hour and a half of driving. So.
Oh, that's not so bad.
It's not too bad. Lake Fork's about an hour from where I live in Terrell, and Terrell's 45 minutes from here. And I don't know, we got traffic, so. And then we still got to stop at Buc-ee's.
Oh, we gotta go to
'cause we got to
Buc-ee's.
get snacks. I need snacks for the boat.
I'm just glad I flew here. I would be buying a lot more.
Oh, but driving on
I
the
bought
way?
like one of those big skull mounts at Buc-ee's. I buy like cowhide rugs. I mean, I go
There's
for it.
so many good things in there. Anybody I take there, I just tell them it's a gas station. They walk in and they're like, what is this
I keep
gas
trying to get
station?
sponsored by him, but they just
That's tough. They got, I don't know. That would
be cool, right?
That would be really good, especially if they gave you a discount. Because man, Lucky's is expensive.
Their fuel is cheaper though.
Yeah, I guess that kind of gets you.
Especially
But-
like what Georgia, they don't have the tax on fuel, so it's even cheaper.
It's great. We're gonna get some snacks and stuff for the next day. Just get ready. Thanks
I'm
for
excited.
coming on. Let's get ready.
Let's do it.
All right.